You're listening to Procurement 6, the weekly podcast from the team at Art of Procurement that summarizes this week in procurement in just 6 short segments.
Hi there. My name is Kelly Varner, and today is Friday, August 2nd, 2024.
6.
On this day, 101 years ago, August 2nd, 1923, U.S. Steel gifted the world something that we don't give too much thought to today. What was it? The 8-hour workday. Until then, it was routine to work 12 hours at a shift. I know, especially in the summer, that people sometimes put in half days on Fridays, and working from home has blurred everything. But a starting point of 8 hours is a heck of a lot better than 12. Thank you for that, U.S. Steel.
5.
Back in April, Philip Eidson had the opportunity to sit down with Sherry Ulsh, Director of Indirect Procurement at the Hershey Company, at the annual Core Trust Conference. They discussed a wide range of topics, including Sherry's view on the future of procurement, strategic approaches to GPOs, the critical role of stakeholder management, and, in this short clip I'm going to share, the ways that career paths in procurement have changed over the years. Let's listen in.
Yeah, that have come into my life. But I think one of the big things that really came out through our stories is grit and resilience will take you through. And, a career is a long time. Mm-hmm. And, it's not like it used to be. You have organizations that are very flat. Yeah. The whole corporate ecosystem is so different. You don't stay at a company. I mean, I actually was at a company for a very long time, but that's not so unusual, usual anymore. Yeah. And it's not this trajectory that's just a steady trajectory that you move through your career. And what was really great is people gave examples of the obstacles they faced, the decisions that they made, the step backs that they took, for that period of time when they needed it, and then how they stepped forward from there. So there's been a lot of people last night who were stopping me in the exhibitor hall and just talking about how they were inspired by our stories. It was both men and women, and I know that I heard from them also too, and that's great because sometimes when you're out there and you're just working away and you're thinking, oh, where am I going and what am I doing and what's this, where do I need to be in 5 years and all that sort of stuff, to just have a moment when you can hear from others about, hey, it's okay. Yeah. You'll get to a place where is the right place for you as you move through the career.
To listen to the full episode, go to artofprocurement.com/podcast or search for Art of Procurement and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also click the direct link in today's show notes.
4.
In this week's episode of Art of Supply, I dug into the details behind FedEx's review of their freight division, which offers LTL services. While it is the most profitable division in the company, it is also comparatively very small. And FedEx is considering spinning it off to give FedEx Freight the opportunity to thrive. One thing that struck me in my research is the difference in operating ratios, a metric that tracks what it costs each company to make $1. FedEx Freight is the largest LTL operator by revenue in the United States, and they reported over $10 billion in revenue last year. They're followed by Old Dominion, who brought in $6.2 billion in revenue. But when we think about their operating ratios, those number 1 and number 2 places actually flip. FedEx Freight's operating ratio is 80%, but Old Dominion's is 72%, at least in Q2 of this year. Now, what that means is that FedEx has to spend 80 cents to make every dollar in revenue, while Old Dominion only has to spend 72 cents. The other 8 cents, they get to keep. Now, before UPS spun off their freight division in 2021, their operating ratio was 98%. It cost them 98 cents to make each dollar. Listen to this week's Art of Supply for more about FedEx's planned move and the competitive LTL landscape. You can do that by clicking the link in today's show notes or by visiting artofprocurement.com/supply.
This is Procurement 6 from Art of Procurement. To get notified every time an episode is published, go to artofprocurement.com/subscribe. 3.
In this week's episode of the Sourcing Hero podcast, I welcomed UNA's Chris Lance for his monthly sit-down. After the working from home movement that began a few years ago, the professional world then passed through quiet quitting on its way to something that feels a little bit heavier. Whether we call it apathy, nihilism, or inertia, the current mood is affecting individuals and teams in a way that we should all be aware of. During the conversation, Chris and I talked about two pop culture-based examples of the dynamic we're talking about: The Never-Ending Story and Pilgrim's Progress. It may not seem like those two have anything in common, but trust me, it is an exchange worth listening to. You can hear our whole conversation by clicking the link in today's show notes or by searching for The Sourcing Hero wherever you find your audio entertainment.
2.
For all of our excitement about the impact of AI on the economy, the largest IPO in the United States so far in 2024 is a cold storage company called Lineage. There has been an abundance of supply chain investment since 2020, much of it associated with new digital platforms that aspire to solve and prevent the disruptions that snarl production and delivery. That said, it's exciting to see an operational supply chain company top the charts. Cold storage dates back to the 1800s, but it really took off in 1924 when Clarence Birdseye founded a company to flash freeze foods for sale in grocery stores. Lineage has grown through acquisition and has increased cost effectiveness through practices like coordinating shipments so trucks travel full, using autonomous forklifts in their warehouses, and improving speed and visibility by operating warehouses and trucking. It just goes to show that any business, no matter how old or fundamental, can benefit from innovation and fresh sets of eyes. To read more, you'll find the link for a Wall Street Journal article about this IPO in today's show notes.
1.
Before I let you go, I want to tell you about an upcoming Art of Procurement event you won't want to miss. On August 20th, join us as we host the team from Supplier.io to access their learnings from over 200 in-depth ESG risk assessments. They will answer questions about the highest priority ESG risks procurement needs to monitor, how leading companies are mitigating these risks, and finally, how we can help shine a spotlight on suppliers that are exceeding our ESG expectations. You can find the link to register in today's show notes or go to artofprocurement.com/calendar to see all of our upcoming events.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Friday at 6 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. If you've enjoyed this pod, help us grow and tell your peers to search for Procurement 6 wherever they get their podcasts.